Now, something that was not a vibe that happened to me over the weekend, I went out for a really lovely breakfast with my housemate and his friend. And it was about 11:30 in the morning and we were walking back from the cafe on a very busy road. And I had my dog with me as well and I was kind of distracted by him and I was looking down and a car drove past us and screamed in the most aggressive way to my friends who were in front of me holding hands, F you, you effing F slur.
Yep.
They are two homosexual gentlemen, two of the loveliest men you will ever know in your life, walking down the street doing literally nothing wrong. I looked up thinking that there was a fight going on nearby. Then I realized this car was directly next to us. And when we looked up, as they turned the corner, they screamed it again. And when I say screamed it, I mean with this vicious tone in their voice.
I'm going to hurt you tone.
It was so disgusting to the point they turned the corner and I was so shocked. I burst into tears. I've never in my life, and I know that this stuff goes on, I have never in my life been so shaken by something that has happened in front of my eyes.
Yep.
I was crying. They turned to me and they said, "What? Don't cry. Like this happens all the time," which made me even more upset because this is 2025. And, you know,
you're in a progressive part of the city as well, which I think is important to note.
I lived in a progressive part of the city in Melbourne and I live in a progressive part of the city where I am now in Sydney. And I surround myself with people who are progressive. And it just absolutely rocked me because in this day and age, are we really, really still doing this?
Yep.
And you'll be happy to know, I asked the shops around for CCTV, which they had. We went home, we called the non-emergency line because even my housemate said, he was like, I don't really know what to do, but that was the worst that I've experienced it, he said.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ever have to experience that.
But you do.
But you do.
It's, you know what's funny? When you mentioned it yesterday and then you mentioned what our friend said, that it happens all the time, I thought that's exactly the reaction.
Yeah.
And you do get used to it. But what it does is it crumbles for a temporary period. It doesn't destroy you forever, but it crumbles for a temporary period. The feeling of safety that queer people have to build up over a very long time crumbles it, takes you straight back to high school.
Yep.
And that's what it does. And it does happen a lot. And since you told me yesterday, because I could remember one specific incident, but then I've kept going back in my brain and I've remembered so many different times that this has happened on a smaller and bigger scale, on a more aggressive and less aggressive scale. It happens.
It does.
And it happens. I'm not exactly the most feminine, screaming gay presenting gentleman of all time, but it absolutely happens.
Yeah.
And you think we've come so far, and you think these things only happen in, America.
Yeah, well.
No, it's happening. It's happening on our streets.
It filters through, and we've said that before. And when we rang the non-emergency, because we were like, I don't really know, do we? And they said you need to go to the police station now.
Yeah.
And we got in the car and we went down there immediately because as me and our friend thought, we were like, they may have experienced this time and time again, which they shouldn't have. But what if they were two 16-year-old males or two 6-year-old females holding hands and a car drove by and said that to them and just completely shattered their entire world and they never wanted to do that again?
Yep, exactly. Straight back in the closet and then you're stuck with that for many years.
Yep.
And this is the thing with getting police involved is queer people have a very storied history with the police. There's an ongoing conversation today about the police's role in our rights and in our world. But I'm so grateful that the experience that your friends had, that our friend has had, has been one where they've actually acted.
We went there. They took it extremely seriously because there was a part of me as well that sort of thought, I don't really know. And I Googled and it is called a hate crime for a reason.
Yeah.
And there was even people in my Instagram, someone in my Instagram comments that said, it's not that nice, but going to the police, really? And I said, yeah. And do you know what? The police have taken it very seriously and they paid those people a visit today.
Exactly. Yep.
So, yeah.
I think people just need to know that it does happen, though.
It does.
The biggest one that I've been through, and not to take away from our friend's experience, because that is awful and has really rocked me a little bit as well. But, I've been walking home from an event with my partner, not even holding hands, just sort of close to each other. And he was quite a feminine presenting person. Car full of 5 guys throwing stuff out the window at us and calling us the F slur. And it rocks you. It completely rocks you. It destroys and to the point where I went to get a haircut at the barber's last week. And I still walked in a little bit unsure as to whether I was going to be treated all right. I haven't been to a barber in my adult life. because it's always been a place where it's a male-only space. It's a very specific male space. I needed a bloody haircut.
And how was it?
It was fine, but those feelings, it's just funny how those feelings creep in every now and then when you're a queer person.
Yeah.
They just get there.
We just basically, I thought I don't know if I want to talk about this, but I think, the bed's run out. But I do think if you are out there and you're either questioning your sexuality, even if you're comfortable in your sexuality, but there's still things like this happening to you, you are loved and supported. And no one in this room would ever think that is an appropriate thing to say to anyone.